about now?
And recording.
Yep. So I call this meeting to order. It is 6:32. Sorry for the late start. We'll start with the approval of the minutes.
Recording in progress.
There we go.
Did everyone get a copy of the minutes?
Yes. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of
December 3rd?
December 3rd, thank you.
Okay,
I'll second that.
thank you. Any questions or omissions by anybody? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained will be me, Colleen. Okay? Thank you. Alicia's turn.
So on this handout here that I gave everybody,
Okay,
the Board of Selectmen met last week, so I do have some changes, and then some changes that occurred from when we started, seeing some budgets, and some changes. So what I gave you was what the original budget was that you guys were presented with, and what the budget now, which is that after adjustments column, and then I just showed the difference, whether it went up or down, and then and the reason. So if anyone has any questions?
so we'll revisit all these later.
You could do these all now, because you've already gone through and, reapproved, you've already seen these budgets. So you guys would just need to, make a motion to accept the adjustments for each of those, and then state the new total.
So just to make sure, the one thing I'm unclear on is under patriotic purposes, it had been 18.
Yep,
This board voted to remove 89.99.
yep, and I brought that back to the board to see if
Yep.
they want to keep their motion and keep their original budget of 18, or go with your
Yep.
adjusted one, and they want to keep theirs as is, and they do not wanna go with the budget committee's recommendation. I know there was another member of the committee who said that you guys may wanna bring it back up to increase that back to what it was, or if you guys were going to leave it. It is the only difference between your two budgets, so if you guys remain with a difference in the two budgets, I'm gonna have to seek some guidance on how I put that on the warrant, because I think it will confuse people if they see a difference that the board, the budget committee supports X, and the budget, and the board supports X, and then I fear they would vote it down, but you guys are obviously, it's your budget, you have the say. I just don't know how I'm gonna word it so that it won't confuse people as to why you guys don't disagree,
Understand.
or agree,
Ruth,
sorry.
would you wanna speak to what the select board's discussion was about that? Sorry,
Well,
on the spot.
I guess, obviously it was public, and I think that most of the members felt that it was, probably we would get creamed
Mm-hmm.
as a board if we, went back, agreed with what the budget committee, it's personal, it's just, everyone has their own, I personally can do without the fireworks. I'd love we talked
The
about
light show.
the light show, love it, because I'm
Yeah.
just not a firework person, but I got outvoted, so, the board felt that, politically wise, as much as anything else, that they wanted to keep the, and I think really that Danielle's trying really hard to get donations.
Yeah.
I think that was her, and I think she indicated that when she presented her budget, and I think, and she is not outruling the fact that it might be a light show versus fireworks if, again, we didn't have any, I don't think she had any figures, she didn't even have any figures for the firework amount yet.
Right.
Alright, so, I don't have any idea what fireworks cost now. I'm sure they've gone up in price, no idea.
Yeah, they've gone up considerably.
Yeah.
But I have a question. Are there any prices? I know light shows are very expensive
They
too.
probably are too. I think
So
you're exactly
they-
right.
Nothing against the live fireworks,
No,
but
no, I'm sure it's all.
A better number, I guess, is what my question would be.
I think my biggest concern is that we don't even, is what we even have in there even gonna
Give any kind of
give
show.
a, right, and again, okay, everybody's used to a certain firework display here in town, and is this gonna happen? I can't answer that question at this point. And obviously, if we go into a default budget, we all know, you know, that probably won't happen at all. I mean, I'm hoping we don't go to that, that's for
Mhm.
sure.
We can't do two in a row.
We,
2 years in a row would.
oh no, if we go into default, you're not gonna be able to, we
No.
held on by the hair of our chinny chin.
So don't even think that way.
I know, I'm not, and I feel that people understand, I'm hoping that they understand a little bit better what took place, and how it's affected the town as a whole. I mean, we as selectmen got creamed because, people accused us of trying to, we took away the fireworks and that was, you know.
Punishment.
We're punishing everyone, you know, it's, you know, I think I much prefer to have fire and, highway and police, departments than a light show. I'll probably get creamed on Facebook again, but anyways.
Well, no, because I think there's a lot of people that feel that way. I mean, I know me as a taxpayer, not as a board committee member, I would much rather have people getting salaries and see our roads getting cleaned and taken care of the way that they are, than to be sitting up on the field watching and go $9,000 go up in smoke pretty much in less than an hour's time. It takes way more police protection, fire's gotta be there.
Oh, well,
all
the
the
9,000 is
services.
strictly for the fireworks,
Yeah, it
right?
doesn't
I
count
know,
It
but
doesn't
if
count
that
the
goes
highway
on,
and-
right,
right.
but if that happens, you still have people that have gotta be there, and that's
Mhm.
overtime if we're understaffed, so my position hasn't changed. So I'm sorry, I think you have to try to I mean,
And
I don't know
think
if
that-
we
and
have to
I think
vote on that again or
unfortunately,
not.
most
but-
people don't realize that in order to even have the fireworks, you have to have police, fire, and then the highway department has to clean up the mess afterwards to the school's satisfaction. It is an expense, and those other departments have to find those monies within their budget to provide what, the fireworks.
I mean, just last week, we listened to welfare going up, and we don't know where that money's coming from, so, you know, I'm sorry. We have more important things to pay for.
So maybe we vote on these one at a time, taking from the top.
Yes, so what I would recommend you do is motion to amend the X budget, to the number I gave you.
So the original budget is what we had already approved, and after adjustments is what the select board has just approved,
Yes,
to be clear?
yeah. So you would be voting on amending the, so your first one would be a motion to amend the water department's, 25 budget to 343,438. In a second, and then motion, or a vote.
Alright,
And obviously, the water is user fees that
yep,
contribute to that, and obviously, it's pretty self-explanatory. FICA, Medicare, and, the rent to Laconia, that's the, meter on Route 3.
The meters, all the water sewer, the water and sewer on for
Route
three,
3.
yeah.
okay,
So they bill us, we bill them.
okay, alright. Any discussion on the water?
Somebody's gonna make the motion.
So, I was just gonna say, so I'll take a motion.
I'll move to approve the water budget at 343,438.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. Sewer budget.
And the sewer is the same thing, it's,
They had an employee who went and got some further education and
Okay.
got certified, so we increased his wages, which increased the FICA, the Medi, the retirement, and then his wages.
and that's through user fees also.
Okay. We'll take a motion.
I'll move to approve sewer at 736,834.
Second.
Discussion?
I have a question. Certified for what? For the sewer department?
It's one of his water licenses. I couldn't tell you which one. I think he took his
Now,
water
shouldn't that-
license one
shouldn't
or
that-
water license
Yeah,
two.
you have to get a water license.
You can ask,
but
is
you
that
don't-
sewer?
You
Yeah,
don't need a
No, sewer,
license for
right.
sewer.
Yeah.
So that's why my question.
That would be a question for Craig.
I can't answer that, I don't remember.
Let me ask.
Well, he has the multitask, doesn't he? That's the
He
reason
is
why?
cross-training, he's cross-training
Right.
a lot, so I'm not sure,
So, cause depending on who's on, they may still may have to have that water license to deal with that. They're not doing just sewer, so, but it comes underneath that heading.
his salary comes out of the sewer.
Well, it's two different people, right?
Right, right. And that could be what it is, Donnie, I'm not sure, but I do know
It's
that
on the
they.
water side, not on the sewer side.
Right,
Right.
and it all comes, all comes out the
I
same
was
bill.
there, and that's why I'm questioning
Yeah.
it, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I know that they've done a lot to try to cross-train so that they can cover weekends and whatever.
Or if somebody were to move on to another position that we're not
They've got
left
somebody,
in that
yep,
spot with,
yep.
of anyone. Are you asking Craig?
I am, but then I also, so that was the first round of changes, and then you'll see that there's a second one. There was a new number from DES, the Woonsocket River Basin, they updated their replacement cost, so that actual final number is that 783,081.
I'd have to, ask whoever made their motion, maybe if they would,
To
to amend
amend it.
it to that number?
Sure, I'll amend the motion to 783,081.
I'll second it.
Thank you. So for, what was that cost? That's not Route 140, is it?
No, that's the
Or
sewer,
Okay.
Pumping station.
Woonsocket,
Okay.
All of the sewer lines.
yeah, all the sewer lines. That is another, we have no control.
Mhm.
Well, we try to, but we have no
Have
control.
we heard any more about that?
No, nothing yet.
Did we take a vote on that first one?
They're actually tied together because they're both sewer. We did the water, but the sewer, we were moving
Okay,
on, the
so there's
sewer's
two
down here, so now,
different
now we're just amended it down to here, because we're gonna cover two things. I can wait until we get an answer from Public Works and table this?
No,
Or are we ready for?
If I
I'll
recall,
talk.
I think, so he's coded under the sewer department, but he works both in the sewer and the water and the highway. I believe it's for his,
water license?
water, but because he's fully funded under sewer, it's just where he lies.
And it probably works for the same way with the guy that's in the, well, you don't have to have any certification to be a
Right.
sewer guy, right?
For sewer.
You don't need a certification for
I
that.
Do for water, but not for sewer. Some municipalities require it, but
There he is, he can answer the question.
Grade 1 treatment distribution,
Oh, for sewer or water?
water.
Okay.
okay, not on
The
the
question
sewer
was,
side.
why is
Not on
Jesse,
the sewer. Cause it was written into the sewer, that's why I was asking that question.
It was written into this.
cause Jesse's coded into the sewer budget,
Yep,
why
So
wouldn't
that's
that
why.
come out of the
because
water?
we're
Because
cross
we
training
cross-train,
everything.
yeah.
So any,
Yeah, but you don't need certs for and it was just a question, cause when I was there, you didn't need any certs for the sewer department, but you did for the water.
correct.
And where it was written in for the sewer, that's what my question was, that's all.
I don't, what do you mean written in for the sewer?
Jesse is,
He's a sewer tech.
he's a sewer tech.
So-
He's
so
a
I've
cross
got-
training.
Yeah, so I've actually got a couple guys on the highway department that actually wanna get their water certification too. So I'm just thinking, if something happens with Pennachuck someday and we have to go a different route.
I didn't have a problem.
No, I'm just
I'm
explaining.
just, questioning why it was coming out of,
Sure.
not the other.
I mean, as you know, you've done that long enough. Basically, we don't have anybody working for the water side. It's me and Brian, and we have one sewer guy to do all this. So, like I said, we're cross-training, we're just trying to, we're doing a lot with a little, I think, so it's just, we're trying to,
And it doesn't get covered under tax, I was just questioning.
No.
That's fine.
All right.
No, and Jack's actually taking
I got
this
something.
too, so.
So we've had a motion and a second on the new total for sewer of 783, All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. I'm gonna, suggest we do the fire one next and then talk about patriotic purposes last, just cause it might take a little bit longer. Fire is going down.
Yes, so they reduced the call line from 30,000 to 15,000 as she's not really utilizing it. They call firefighters and they don't respond, so,
Okay.
I think they've only used, even just this year, I think under $5,000.
Okay.
So she wanted to reduce that.
Yep.
And then she increased the service contracts to 122 from 120 based on actuals. She had gotten some after the fact quotes, for what her service contracts will be for next year, so we just adjusted that. And then there was, 2 education stipends that, were needed to be included that weren't in there before, so that was a decrease of the 11,294.
Alicia, can I just go back for a second too?
Let me finish this first.
Good, so you need $2,362,861.
Correct.
Is that a motion?
Yep.
So, thank you. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? It passes. Mr. Claremont, did you wanna?
Yeah,
Yeah, one
just
thing
as far
back
as,
on the other.
one more thing with the water certification, so Brian, we have 3 people who actually have their water licenses, so Brian Jacks, the assistant, has his grade 1s, I have my grade 2s, and Jesse now has his grade 1s. So we have 3 people that are certified, so, with their treatment and distribution licenses. Sorry, I thought that was.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Now, back to the patriotic purposes, before we, take a motion. Alicia was explaining, and maybe I'll ask her to explain again, this is not meant to be to coerce anyone to change anything, but we will have to describe on our ballot that we do not agree with the Board of Selectmen because of the fireworks, was one of the,
I would not go into detail on your
Detail?
ballot
No,
as to
no.
what you did, it's just going to say, like, right now it says, the board, the budget committee recommends 10 million,
Mhm.
and the board of selectmen support that, right? And then if you keep it as it, it'll say, you guys support X, and you don't, and you support X, and it'll be a difference, and everyone's gonna be like, well, why is there a difference? And then they're gonna say, oh, they don't agree, I should vote it down.
But that's happened before.
Yep.
That happened a couple
Okay.
years ago with the health agencies, I believe.
Mhm. I agree.
I mean, that's not an uncommon,
And,
you know, I mean, we've been very fortunate the last few years, there hasn't
back
been,
and forth.
but it's definitely not a, unheard of thing, that's for sure.
So right now, what do you need from us on the patriotic purposes? Nothing?
If you want to keep it as is, you do nothing. If somebody wants to make a motion to bring it back up to the 18,000, that's your purview to do so.
Mhm.
Or you can ask if you guys just want to keep it as is.
Discussion?
Let it rest.
I wanna keep it as is.
Motion to leave it as is.
I have a motion to leave it as is. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes. Thank you all for your patience when we went through all those.
So I do have an email from the library trustees just now.
And I fear I'm a little behind on part of that, but go right ahead.
So at our last meeting when they presented, in your packets, there is supporting documentation for
17.
the librarian's salary.
That's 17, correct?
Okay.
So earlier this year, we were notified of the Department of Labor's new federal threshold for salaried employees, that it was increasing. It increased in, what was it, June, and then there was gonna be another increase in January. That has since been defeated in the court system, and it is being reappealed. That we just got actually notified in November that it was being reappealed. So right now, they're only having to stay at the 2019
Okay.
So at that point in time, when we were doing the budgets, the library trustees had voted to put that new federal minimum in there as her new wages for 25. This was before we, got the, decision that it had been turned down in kind of status. So it was brought up by one of the members, that she had felt that it wasn't approved, and, there was discussion back and forth whether that they should still keep her in at that higher amount versus just a normal step that everyone else would get. They just had a meeting tonight, and they are going to not do the federal standard increase and just do a 4% raise from last year.
So do we want to do we need to make any changes to what you
I
all
do think
finished
it's
on
giving
there?
like 2 minutes to
Yeah.
replug the
I was gonna
numbers,
say,
For sure.
gotta put
Cause we might as
somewhere.
well get that done tonight instead of doing it in January.
because it'll just take me 2 minutes to plug in the new number, and then the system will,
This is on the director?
Mhm.
yes.
So at the present time, it's 58,656?
I'm sorry?
Yes,
She's gonna give us a new one, yeah.
I know, but I just
That's what
wanna
it
make
is,
sure
yeah.
everybody's on the
Yeah.
right page.
This is the amount, that's what it was bumped up in July.
And then it goes up that much again.
So as of January, they were supposed to go to that, but it was overturned.
I think I picture that.
I think you might have it.
I think I did provide you guys all with.
Yeah,
the
I think you might
printout.
have it in there.
Alright, so what was their number before? So her new wage is going to be for line 101, will be 56,160. Which would then also change the FICA line, which is 310, to 7,829. And the Medicare line, which is 312, to 1,831. And the retirement line to 12,319, for a total of 259,176.
Is a motion for just that grand total, amended grand total sufficient?
Yes.
Was it 259 what?
176.
I'll take a motion.
So moved. To accept the revised figure of 259,176.
second.
All those in favor?
Uh,
Opposed? Motion passes. Anything else under the update, young lady?
No, I would say that we do have our next meeting as earmarked as tentative. My suggestion, there may or may not be any changes from now and then. If there is, I think what we could do is have, a meeting before your next public hearing, which is to discuss the budget, and then make any of those last minute changes before you go into the public
Which
hearing.
we've
if
done
there
it that
anything
way
comes
before.
up. And we
Yeah.
don't have to come back for
5 minutes?
Yeah, 5
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, it depends on the weather and everything else,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and get a quorum.
Next week, no. We'll just do it, if there are any other changes, we'll do them prior to the meeting. That will work.
So everyone can take next week off their calendar. And if it's all right with you, I'm the one presenting everything tonight, so if you don't mind me, where I'm trying to manage the Zoom tablet and my tablet live, if I could just sit here, that would be okay. If you guys can all hear me all right.
Works for me.
And what number are we starting with?
You going to 21?
21, I believe,
21.
the executive. Go right ahead.
All right, so this is the executive budget. This budget covers, for salary, just myself, health insurance that covers the town clerk's office, the finance office, general assistance, mine, the assessing and parks and rec are bundled into my budget, as well as the life insurance, short-term disability, dental. The general expenses that usually cover town hall are in here, town hall supplies are covered in here, the major copier lease that we have, in the mailroom is in this budget. Kind of a small one-man show kind of budget, not too much in it.
I'll move 01413011 to 0141309999.
You're in this budget.
Pardon?
You're in this budget.
So you want me to move that?
Well, you know, I'm just,
I'll take,
Will you move that, please?
anybody wanna take that motion?
You want me to move?
I need somebody to move.
Yep, I
Move it.
I
Move it
move for
along.
discussion, lines 0141300101 through 0141309999.
Have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
And it says mine is an 11% decrease, so that's nice. You should be happy with the decrease.
Yeah, I was just noticing that you don't often see a decrease in insurances, and must be the change in staff changed what you needed
Yes.
for policy.
And again, we budget, for the health insurance for the staff that we have. If it's an open vacancy, then I go middle of the way with a two-person plan. Which fortunately for us, we don't have any vacancies at town hall.
I feel like we should say that out loud.
I know, Dawn.
We've
It's
been
been-
solid for a while, so
Yeah,
it's a good feeling to have our staff, full and, getting used to their positions and a great group of people.
Any
This is more of a
questions?
question, not a, why is Colleen's overtime on this budget if her salary isn't?
It was always in this budget, it just hasn't made its way divvied up back on over to the other side, and where she also is so she's the executive assistant, but she's also the assessing administrator, so we just share a little because she does do tasks for my office, as well.
Any other questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining?
Abstain.
And what number do you have as your bottom, because I think it has changed since these were printed for you guys.
419,850.
Okay, so the new number that I have for the changes is 418,638.
Okay.
628 or
638.
338?
So Colleen, that passed with Ruth abstaining? Yes. Okay.
we're gonna make that one.
And I need a motion on that final number of 418,638.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Thank you. Ruth abstained.
Wow. She's getting rich over it, you know.
Did what?
I say you're getting rich over it.
Yeah, really.
All right, assessing,
Oh, which number is that?
22. I love that these go in order, by the way, this year. Thank you.
Okay, good, glad you guys like it, because unfortunately, wanted to
It's
go with
easier.
these instead of having to flip around and, go back and forth all the time. Alright, so the assessing department budget covers Colleen as the assessing administrator. This is also covers our contract with Vision, who does our, pickups in the spring. educated and further education. The property appraisal, can't talk tonight. Property appraisal fees is for the building permits and pickups. We've been averaging about 260 building permits a year, as well as our contract for the utilities. So KRT does the residential and commercial, and Sanssouci does our utility appraisal, so it's a separate contract each year. And then her FICA Medi and retirement.
I'll take a motion.
I'll move 102 to 324.
Second.
Discussion.
And what, bottom, do you have 140, 116?
Yes.
So we did make a change to the service contract line, which was line 240.
Mm-hmm.
So that new amended line is 20,000, and that was due to, I believe it was, Vision's contract. So the new total, the new bottom total for the property tax budget is 141,216.
Not really a question, but Colleen, thank you for being you. Not an easy job, and I will say between the trash and assessing, are there two things that people complain about more than those two things? So thank you. I've never heard her get mad at anybody. That's a big one even today, yeah, you're right.
And the what?
Mailboxes, that, yeah. There's a little talk on Facebook about Canterbury's mailboxes right now, but anyways, thank you for being you. You're always so pleasant, and I've not seen you get frustrated. If you do, you hide it well, so thank you.
What was that 240 number?
The bottom one?
20 grand,
No,
20 grand.
20.
no, 20,000?
Yeah.
Okay. We gotta have a motion on that. Changing it on just that one line.
I will take one.
I will make a motion for 4152, 240 to 20,000.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Thank you. Any further discussion? I will take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? So moved.
I'll move 141, 216, as recommended by the selectmen.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We're moving on to 23, which is legal.
So the legal line covers invoices to Green legal firms that Belmont has representation for. We have a legal team that does our employment and union issues, and we have another one that does kind of everything else. And then we have, it's just a small representation from another firm who represents us for our franchise agreements. With Breezeline.
Oh, okay.
Again, this covers areas where we need guidance and assistance on employee-related issues, right to know requests, guidance on town matters, the warrant articles, go through legal before they go to the ballot, to make sure they are legal, and if we need to gain any other guidance from them, or need to change anything, and any other thing you can actually imagine that we may need an opinion, or advice, or direction on,
I'll take a motion.
keep us out of trouble.
I'll make a motion for discussion 014153-275.
Second.
Discussion?
So you don't have much in litigation right now? I mean, that doesn't seem like a whole lot.
We are overspent in our budget. We actually have been hit hard in 24 with litigation and the need for legal assistance. So right now, we are actually at 60,616.
Wow.
I don't think we've ever really had to go this far high as a request done and put away by the end of '24.
I was just gonna ask, is that based on more needs or higher rates from the providers?
The rates, well, we just got a letter this week that the rates did go up, and are going up, but, more people have been so happy this year. And with the right to know request, that puts a lot of, more, hey legal, do I need to respond to this?
Is this also where, our, issues with, non-compliance?
The code enforcement?
Code
No,
enforcement,
because we
alright.
decided to bring a few cases in '23, we did put a, in the building
In the-
inspection.
okay. So we haven't got there
Building
yet.
and code enforcement line,
Okay.
their own legal line
That's
as
right,
well,
that's right.
so, building and code enforcement have their own
Had their
legal
own,
lines.
so this does not include any of that, okay.
Does this include our, because, 25 will be going into union negotiations, does this cover our legal fees for that?
Yes.
Okay. Our 3 unions will probably go into negotiations August, I think.
Probably.
It's usually around August.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? So moved.
Need a motion on that 50?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion on the 50,000.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Number 24, this writing just got really small. Writing's really small on this one.
Wow, I get that.
We keep trying to play with the fonts and format all the time, and, so this budget covers the solid waste collection, so your curbside pickup, so this is our contract with Casella to do the curbside collection of the trash and the recycling. There's also a small budget in here if we need to take anything to the transfer station that you guys find on the side of the road, or if we had to, dispose of materials, such as, the TVs, the white goods, miscellaneous, anything else that's in there. We also have to, do landfill monitoring, so we have to pay, Stonifer, I think it is, or Stonifer and Clark, to do our landfill monitoring every year, and that is their rates. And if I remember correctly, Ruth, the hazardous waste day, so the town used to support a household hazardous waste day. It was one day, I don't know, full day. It was a few
Right.
hours, half a day in, July, and residents could bring their household hazardous waste, and we would be charged through Lakes Region Planning Commission, and this new number is the 8,828. So the rates had gone up over prior years. When we went into the default, the board, did not fund that in 2024. This is the new proposed number. I believe you guys kept it in and wanted to see if
I think,
the
didn't we even
budget
talk about
committee-
maybe doing it every other year? I think we even I think if I remember
Every
correctly,
year.
instead of doing it every year, maybe do it every other
That
year.
makes sense.
I found, cause I had volunteered and I noticed obviously we didn't do it this past year, but I noticed that the amount of items and the people and items seemed to decrease as time went on, when we were doing it every year. So we even talked about maybe doing it every other year.
That would make sense if it's
Well,
save on staff.
what I find is with these new trash cans, people put everything in it, and it's gone, so, I think that's probably one of the reasons why there hasn't been a call for that.
Well, yeah, but we just started that, Ron. Don't
Well, I
get
know,
that,
but
you know,
I've talked to people and they say they love these things, because you can put anything you want in them, because nobody,
You don't talk to the people that are upset that they can't throw away more garbage.
Talk
No,
to the
but-
trash lady.
yeah.
The trash lady.
You could have a lot to fill up one of those cans.
That's what I say, but
Oh, we
you'd
fill
be
it up every
surprised
week.
how many people want to get more garbage cans and fill it up even more, and that what they get is not enough.
Wow, know, but I'm just saying, I think that's probably one of the reasons.
So if somebody
why.
wants an extra one, they then rent it for the year?
They have to be approved, they
Okay,
have to meet the ordinance regulations, and then they have to pay, it's $150 a year, it's not, prorated,
Mhm.
so if they started in July and they got approved, we think
Still
for like
150.
excess people in the household, if somebody has, you know, a medical issue that they're dealing with, and they have additional medical waste,
Yeah.
something like that.
okay. So no matter when you sign up, it's $150 for that year?
So why are we talking to the trash lady? What, do we throw a dot at the wall when they're gonna pick up the recyclables?
Do you not get recycling collection?
Well, they didn't, we put it out where you're supposed to, they didn't pick it up. So we threw it out the next week and they just threw it in with a regular trash.
I've seen
So
that,
recycling is less expensive to dispose of than garbage.
which is
So
opposite of what it
highly
used to be. It used to
recommend
be,
If they don't come pick it up, just call me and they will send someone out to grab it.
All right, I'll take a motion for discussion, since we already started discussion without it.
Make a motion for discussion 4323-470 through 4325-450.
Need a s-
Second.
Discussion?
I will also note, I think you guys have it on your sheets, we do get a host fee from Casella for trash that they bring in from, they allow to be brought in from outside of Belmont. So we get roughly around $5,000, $5,500 a month in host fees. I don't have an updated one for August, September, October, but you can see historically, we get about $50,000 to $60,000 a year, and we use that, as offsetting revenue to the town.
I love the trash can system. I've been
Oh, I
asking for
love
those
it.
trash cans for years, and somebody wouldn't buy them, so, thank you.
I'll say that it's helped us out a great deal as far as the trash on the side of the roads. Like, you know, the animals aren't getting into the trash.
Yeah.
People from out, you know, we would notice people from other communities would bring, you know, there'd be
Yeah.
20 bags of trash in front of the house because their kid lives somewhere, and they bring their trash from their relatives and stuff. Now it just,
We see it all the time.
it's eliminated a lot of the trash on the roads. It's just,
So the Mile Hill thing is that kinda gone away, or is people still, they're still bringing stuff out there, beds and things, yeah.
every week. It's somewhere. It's either, there are
South Road, River.
certain dumping spots, or actually some people don't care, they leave right in front of their house.
I saw the thing this morning on Facebook, and I don't know if it was Laconia or not, but they showed a snowmobile, and it was towing that somebody was driving the snowmobile, and it was towing a couch with 3 people on it down the road. And I went, uh-oh, somebody left their couch out beside the road, and it's heading down the road. I don't know if it was true or not, but you can't help it.
It seems like it's better on, but I mean, so, I actually just called, we have a vendor that comes and picks up the tires that we accumulate, right? So they're gonna come, they were supposed to come this week, the weather, I think, screwed them up, but they're gonna come next week, and we've got, I estimated probably about 175 tires.
Wow.
Imagine.
Do we have to
And
pay?
we have to pay for those.
So, on a different note, not that you need to be given more to work with, but, my family has recently been cleaning out a property that my father-in-law owns in Canterbury, and there were not quite 100, but probably more than 50, between 50 and 100 tires underneath this barn. And several farmers offered to come and get them. My poor sister-in-law who cleaned them all out, put them on the side of the road, somebody,
Bunkers.
yeah, somebody
So
first
cover the
added
bunkers.
theirs to it, so she went from having 50 to having 75. But then when she put that out there, somebody offered to come and take them. I don't know if somebody would do that yearly, but, yeah, they were.
They use them to cover their,
Silage.
silage.
Silage,
Mhm.
yeah.
You can do a Facebook post and say, hey, anyone want all these tires? Come get them.
It's an idea, I guess.
It worked for us.
Need more, I get one.
Well, try to
Pick
get
up all
rid
the
of a
back
load of tires, they want hundreds of dollars to get rid of it. It's crazy, a piece of, a large piece of equipment tire, it's ridiculous.
I have a question. Is the Casella contract all based on tonnage that you get charged monthly? How does the charges actually work?
So, the contract covers market as far as the tonnage, so we, they go pick up X amount and whatever the market rate is for that is what we get billed monthly, so,
It all goes to landfill now? Or does some of it go to the, Pennacook?
It goes to 140, we don't know where it goes from. No.
I mean, when they
No.
first came talking to us, they had said they sometimes have to put it on a train and ship it all across the country. I don't think it all goes down into New Hampshire or out, I think it disperses.
Because originally, back years ago, when the Willebretta Fry put that in, we were in a consortium with towns around Concord and all of that, and then Concord dropped out, and then it wasn't profitable. But what the biggest problem was is the ash. Then we had to have a landfill for the ash, and that was almost as expensive. So, we used to pay $16 a ton back then, and now it's probably, I don't know, $80, $90 a ton.
And now, like the wood ash that we get for hayfields, right, we used to get for nothing. They loved anybody that would take it, right?
Mm.
Now it's almost as expensive as to buy lime. I mean, that's what it is, but, yeah.
Well, I have to make sure there's no metals or any of that stuff in it. Yeah. Nothing's free anymore.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Anyone abstaining? Motion passes.
You can have the bottom line.
753909.
A motion for the selectmen's recommendation of $753,909.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? Motion passes. On to number 25.
Alright, so this is the insurance coverage for the town. Our provider is Primex, so this is what we pay yearly for the unemployment compensation, workers' comp, property liability, and insurance deductible. And these are our rates for 25. You can see the different increases on the side that I provided you. Unfortunately, no decreases in insurance.
I'll take a motion.
Move 0141963326 to 0141966626.
Second.
Discussion?
Do we get a lot of claims each year on this?
It varies.
Varies.
Unfortunately, we've had more than this year than I would like to say we have had, which is, why our deductible is pretty much wiped out this year. And, sometimes it could be property, sometimes it could be equipment, personnel, it changes from year to year.
Every year, like 10 percentage, crazy.
Yep.
Nothing you can do about it.
No. Any further questions? All those in favor? Opposed?
We just try to do our best with promoting a safe work environment and try to get people trained on how to properly drive a car and a truck and, property maintenance and safety and.
I'll take a motion on the total.
Total.
Yeah.
Let somebody else do it.
I'll make a motion to accept the selectmen's recommended amount of $316,062.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 26. Debt, principal, interest.
Open Road culvert, are they gonna do that again, or?
No, we bonded that. That means we owe that.
The debt service are the things that we owe.
I'm right next door to it, that's all.
So we actually have quite low debt for a town police station is gonna be our longest, cause we had taken that out just a few years ago, and that won't be paid off until 2040. The Pleasant Valley project that we did pay off in 2024, so we did have 35-ish thousand come up, no, sorry. Around 50,000 come off from that debt that we paid off. The Holy Road project, that'll be paid off in 2026, so that will decrease that debt there. So we're paying off the Pleasant Valley project, that reduced the debt by 17%.
For a size, a town that size, it's pretty low.
Yes,
Frugal.
Yeah, we've always been frugal, yeah. But you can see what you work in. The middle, we're trying to get this going. I mean, we've made progress. I mean, with the highway garage, that used to be pretty bad. And so, we're coming along, but I don't think it's
Slow
gonna
and
be,
steady.
I don't think it's gonna be fast enough,
No, probably not.
not the way the town's growing.
I'll move 0147110004 to 0147110006.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining?
Do we wanna approve that amount, or we
Yeah, I
wanna wait
think-
till the bottom?
I
Wanna
think we
approve
need to
that
do each
amount?
one, is what Colleen's gonna look at me and say, yep. Colleen's nodding yes.
I make a motion to accept 184, 191.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
The second one too.
But we won't do it till we get to the bottom of the selectmen's total, correct?
No, we just.
No, we
each-
just-
No, we have to do that
We're
one
gonna do
too.
We have to do
one,
the
that's
next
right.
one, right?
Yeah.
I also,
We probably don't have to do the very grand total, do we? No, we don't need to do the 255 at the end, we just do each section.
Well, yeah, because you have the $1 for the tan, unless you're gonna do you have to do the one for the tan,
We have to do
so,
$1, yeah.
I mean, you really don't need to do them all separate.
So you gotta do interest now, right?
Yeah,
so do both.
do the interest.
I make a motion to accept the selectmen's,
Oh, we need to
Selectmen.
move it first.
No, no,
oh, with the
You
move
can
for,
move it.
move for a discussion.
Yep.
The total amount?
No,
No.
no, you're the interest and debt
27,
service.
2104.
004 to 006?
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Ayes have it.
Ayes have it.
Move total of 71689.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I'm sorry, who was the
We still gotta
second
put
on
a dollar in,
I was a second.
10,
Yeah.
anticipation.
Are you moving that?
I'll move 0147230001.
Second.
Discussion? Do you wanna explain why there's $1 in there for our new people?
Since we have to borrow money.
The $1 is just a placeholder. If you had a 0 in a line, you technically can't take anything from 0, so you just have $1 to place it there, so that if you did need it, you could use it. I did give you guys an explanation of what a TAN is, so if you did read it, the TAN is a tax anticipation note, and it's a short-term debt security issued by a state or local government to raise money for a public project. The debt is repaid with future tax collections. Municipal governments use TANs to borrow money typically for 1 year or less and at a lower interest rate that would be available from other lenders. The money finances capital expenditures such as the construction of a road or repairs to a building.
The history of it is, years ago, because you approved the budget in March, but you had to borrow money, cause you didn't have money to start from January to go through, and we used to collect our taxes in December, so now we collect it twice a year, so eventually we get caught up, so we don't have to borrow money every year. cause that was a big expense, borrowing that money every year.
Because you have to pay interest on that
Interest
expense,
on that.
waiting until the tax bills went out in the fall.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
So, by doing that twice a year, and some towns do it every quarter, depending on how much money they have to collect, but, that certainly helped us out as far as borrowing money.
All those in favor? Opposed?
I'll move the total of $1.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Did somebody second that?
I did.
Passes. Capital outlay number 3.
No, we don't need a vote, we need a vote for the grand total.
I don't think so, because we did each one of those totals on the way. So there was a capital outlay in your books, but we've been given a new one.
New highlighted sheet that I gave you guys today with the yellow highlights. The other one is old. And then the fire department has, is putting forth a CIP item, to go on the warrant. And then the cemetery trustees in the library have also put forward their standard one here. Do you have the cemetery trustee here to explain their capital, improvement plan, and then the fire chief and assistant fire chief is also here to explain theirs. And then I can go into all the others, so however you wanna tackle it first.
So we won't have any numbers, we'll be voting off of this?
Yeah.
No, like, 001 dash whatever? Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Why don't we
We
just?
should do them one at a time, though.
We'll do them one at a time, start at the top?
That one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as a little bit of, a backstory to this, so as you all know, we have, on the warrant, we have our, warrant articles for our capital reserve funds. Most of those are typical each year that we put forward. I always sit down with the department head who is mainly in charge of accessing that capital reserve and saying, hey, this is what's in the reserve, are we good? Do you have any projects that are coming up this year? Do we need to add to the funds this year? Can we hold off for a year? And that's how we come up with a number that I recommend to the board for the, capital reserves. You have a note. So this year, when I'm setting the tax rate, we look at how much fund balance we have. And DRA, requires us to keep X amount in the fund balance, which is used for emergency purposes if one were to arise. And so we were left with, do you wanna put X towards decreasing the tax rate? Do you wanna, fund capital projects with it? Typically, we always just decrease the tax rate with the excess fund balance. So we did both this year. We put 400,000 towards decreasing the tax rate. It's actually kind of a fun little exercise. When I go into the portal, DRA tells me my number, and I can adjust the number, and I can see the tax rate come down pennies or a dollar, and what if I do this, what if I do that? Is it really worth, is it worth a couple of pennies or not?
Yeah.
And so then we came to, the other suggestion was, because we're digging ourselves out of a default budget, but if we put some money towards offsetting these capital reserves and fund them through fund balance versus taxation. So all of the highlighted ones are our proposal to be funded through the fund balance. So it's essentially, $400,000 that wouldn't be funded through taxation. So all of those warrant articles that you're used to seeing would have the note, not funded through taxation, funded through fund balance or whatever the wording is. And then the unhighlighted ones are the ones that would be funded through either the user fees for the water and sewer departments or through taxation. And then the other sheet that I had given you, that looks like bank account kind of, this one is the summary of what we do have in those capital reserves as of the end of November.
So each one of these will be a warrant article?
Correct.
Are we able to group all about the ones,
No.
well, maybe not, like, keep the ones that don't increase taxes at the first half, or to try to make it easier for people to know which ones have already, are not being raised by current taxation?
So you try, you mean how we stack it on the ballot?
Yeah.
So you try to stack your highest to lowest, of what you want to get approved, because by the end, people don't wanna approve, things.
Yep.
So usually you put your lower bottom fruit on the bottom, because that's less of an impact. So I definitely wouldn't put like the road at the bottom of the list, because more
Mhm.
people are apt, to vote no. So it always, I mean, we have a certain order where you have to do your zoning first, and then you have to do your budget, and then you have to do your union contracts, and then, your warrant, then the ambulance actually comes before or after the union. And then, or any of your bonding goes first.
I guess for,
So we've always
educational
done it.
purposes, I was hoping we would be able to say like items 28 through 35. Go ahead and read, but those are not gonna affect your taxes.
That is definitely, will be super highlighted in the voter's guide,
Yeah.
that these are, funded through fund balance and not through taxation, for the zero impact.
But then are people gonna understand what the fund balance means?
That was, so, yeah. I love what we're doing, I just wanna, I hate when people vote no on stuff that's not increasing the taxes.
How many people vote no on the sergeant fund too, so.
Yes, they do.
There's a certain
Nice.
percentage vote no on
I
everything,
know.
so
I know,
it's never gonna change.
I keep trying, Ron.
No, I know. This is education, it's, so they understand what we got.
Right, and that, I guess that was my, like, if we were able to, when talking to people, cause I plan to talk a lot to people about the different budgets going forward, that if you were able to say, hey, look at these, if they're scattered throughout, it's harder to, just my opinion.
We'll take these one at a time.
So we're gonna just take a motion without them, to move them to discuss with, by the description rather, of each line.
Yeah, you could just do a
Yeah.
motion to approve the approved liability capital reserve in the amount of 100.
So we'll take a motion to discuss, or to move them, and then, so that anybody can explain them to us.
I'll move approved liability for discussion.
Explain it, so people know.
Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah. Can I have a second?
Second.
Accrued liability,
So the accrued liability is to fund when we have employees who retire. We have it in our personnel policy that we meet the requirements of retirement through years of service with the town and or New Hampshire retirement, that they're entitled to half of their sick time that they have on the books, any vacation time they have on the books, whether they have longevity pay for being here for, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. So when they depart from us, they sometimes have a hefty balance on the books, and I can't say how or why the thought process was of when it was created, but I can only assume that the voters didn't want to tax, or pay for employees' payouts through taxation, so they created the accrued liability and funded it, from what I can see from the history, always through the fund balance. So that has never been funded through taxation, it's always been funded through the excess funds at the end of the year. And we have a spreadsheet that we work with, where we have those people who meet New Hampshire retirement standards, who are on our list, and then we have people who we know who are retiring, we try to kind of gauge, all right, who do I know who's gonna retire, and what money do we need to save and set aside for, this year, to meet that payout at the end of the year. Or when they retire.
any questions on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll move the highway department heavy equipment.
Second?
Discussion? Input?
What was the big jump? We went from
So the
six-
big jump in this, and Craig can touch bases, in the past, he's always just funded it this year, Parks and Rec needed a new vehicle. And when they went out and got quotes on what it would be to replace one of their vehicles, with figures coming at $75,000, it really wasn't justifiable for what they use it for. So, Patrick was talking to Craig, and Craig said, hey, I need a new truck, and what if we give you one of our old ones that are still functioning? So the thought is, we're gonna increase his heavy-duty equipment line so that he can, purchase what he needs to, and then he's gonna give and recycle the truck that he has, and then I'll let Craig.
So the thought process was, Patrick came in and, we were in a little group meeting and the eyes were rolling because he wanted a $75,000-$80,000 truck, and that just, so I kinda came up with a proposal that I have a 2015, it's got 72,000 miles on it, it's a four-wheel drive, it's got flatbed, it's got plow. It's not worn out, but, it's had it's a one-ton pickup, but it's had a sander on its back for 7 or 8 years, and it's just gotten to a certain point where, it's tired, but it's not dead. But it would be a really good truck for the Parks and Rec guys. It could tow the trailer, you could have a little flatbed, and, so if I replace that truck, got the $30,000, I could basically fund this through my capital reserve. Got the $30,000, we could do $30,000 from block grant money, it'd be no taxation. So Patrick could have a pretty decent truck, and I could upgrade that 2015, which really kinda needs to be upgraded anyway, and, everybody's happy.
So this
I
is
think
the
the
truck that he was saying is on its last leg?
Right, and I think
So
the
he
other
needs to have it.
reason for talking, for, our thought process is that, that old pickup truck sits down here at the bank building, okay, and now all of a sudden, that's gone and we've got a brand-new, shiny, however expensive truck sitting there, what's everybody gonna say? So our thought is by bringing one of the used trucks down.
Right.
All right, that's kind of.
And we, like I said, we use it like, not more, but it's in a more heavy-duty capacity.
Right,
So
they're not,
it's-
right.
I just, that was my solution to the problem, so I figured, and Patrick's he's excited about it. The truck he's got is just, it's a two-wheel drive, has a hard time, and in the wintertime, he's up there with us.
And that wasn't a new truck to begin with.
No,
No,
it was not, it
it
was a used.
It was a very inexpensive used truck at the time anyway.
Yeah.
We're lucky to have gotten it. If someone else was driving it or taking care of it, it would never have lasted as long as it has probably. Yeah.
Any further questions? Take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Move property revaluation.
Discussion?
So this capital reserve is our savings account for when we need to do property revaluations and or our 5-year mandated by the state of New Hampshire, full measure and list, which, I don't know if I gave it to you guys in this packet, but our quote for 2029 is around $300,000. So the thing is, save a little bit each year to get to that final point versus hitting the taxpayers with, the full amount in 1 year. So we set aside a little bit each year to have that money, in there for when we do have to pay for it. Again, as I stated earlier, it's not I'm not gonna fund you, you're not gonna do my assessment, it's, no, we still have to do it, so we're just gonna have to take the money from the general fund if it didn't get passed, if we didn't have enough in the capital reserve to fund.
Is that one of the items that didn't pass
And
last year?
that's where I was going, and I believe we're already behind, that's why we increased it some, because it did not pass.
So what do you do on assessments now? Automatically raise them because the neighborhood's values are going up?
Unless we put something on the ballot, we have to wait 5 years.
No, but mine went up considerably from
Now
last
that
year.
we're done,
So,
right?
so what's that, just automatic or what?
No, it was, so we did the sales update in 22, 23, 24, and everyone, and the neighborhoods got updated because of the sales.
And that was on the ballot, that was voted 4 years ago to do that for the next 3
Well,
years.
I know, but it doesn't feel any better.
No. And now it's, unless it's on the ballot again, what your assessment is will stay that way no matter what the market is doing, okay? So if the market comes down, your house will stay up here. Or if you're fortunate enough to be one of those people that buy a property on the lake, which right now might be $1 million, but in 5 years could be worth, 5 million, they'll only be paying property taxes on $1 million if we do not put that on the ballot. That's still.
And they're gonna love that, aren't they?
Huh?
They'd love that, wouldn't they?
Of course, and that's what happened before,
Yeah, I
where
know.
there were people buying properties and not having to pay their fair share because we weren't reassessing. You're exactly right.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So that's.
What's our percentage now?
I think it's 86?
We don't have this year's
Oh, I thought we had
percentage
it.
yet.
Oh, we don't have it
No,
yet?
I'm still working on equalization.
Really?
You know, and if this isn't funded, cause I think what we have in the account right now is what,
63?
63?
Mm-hmm.
If this doesn't get funded for the next 3 years, or 1 year and it does, and 1 year doesn't, I mean, 300,000 is a lot for them to find in the budget.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're saying today, what it is 5 years from now would be a whole lot
And it's
more.
it's a multi-year process, so they're not gonna do anything in 25, they'll start gathering information in 26, because essentially they've got to physically go to, what, 4,700 properties? So they span out it every year, X amount between internal visits, if they're allowed in, and external measuring, listing the whole property.
I know it's become a bidding war, that's the problem. With people buying, they put it on the market and they
And
get
I
more
think
than.
it's still going up.
Assessments,
Yeah.
people are still, they're
Paying way more than the new assessed values for 24.
Mm-hmm.
On all different types of property too. I mean, I pulled a report, I was
Yeah.
talking with the board of selectmen, we had condominiums, we had waterfront property, we had single-family homes, we had manufactured homes in parks, we had manufactured homes on their own land. And the percentages that they were buying them for above and beyond what our 24 assessed values, I mean, some of them are like 30, 40, 50% more than what the assessed value is.
It's nice to be in the number 2 state in the country to be
And I
given
think the
that.
other scary part is that past history, when there is a downturn, people in condos or people in manufactured homes, they take the biggest and fastest dive, but they're still gonna be being taxed on, say their home's tax is assessed at 300,000 and there's a dive, they're still gonna have to pay taxes on the 300,000 if we're not doing this on a yearly basis.
So what happens if they come in for an abatement? Do you send somebody out to redo it or what? If somebody thought their taxes, they go in April for an abatement and say, I'm paying way too much.
So abatements can be filed from after the fall tax bill until March 1st.
Oh, March 1st, okay.
And then they all get grouped together. The assessing company looks at all of the abatements together to kind of just see, is there a particular neighborhood or a particular market segment that needs to have adjustments maybe across the board and not just on a couple individual properties. So they review everything together. The town has until July 1st to respond back to everyone, whether they are denied, granted. Sometimes they'll be granted a partial abatement, depending on what the assessing company recommends and the board of selectmen approves for abatements. And then they may or may not get some money back.
And they do a lot of research. I mean, the burden of proof lies on the homeowner to prove that we have you unjustly assessed. And a lot of people just say, oh, I don't like my assessment, or I couldn't, it's not worth what you're assessing it at. Well, prove it, and then they will do an analysis of the neighborhood and say, well, your neighbors are all, assessed fairly and the same. And I think there's what, a 10% threshold that they can
The
be at.
state allows.
Well, the thing is, would you sell it for that? And usually they say,
I don't wanna
no.
sell. That's not the question.
All right.
It's not an easy, that's why we're so fortunate to have Colleen,
Yeah.
she smiles all the time.
She does.
Well, I just wanted to get it out there, cause people are listening and,
Right.
We'll get the word.
I think that, personally, I prefer to have my property looked at on a yearly basis, because I just think it keeps you on a fairer playing field in the long run.
cause mine jumped almost 100,000 in 1 year, thinking, whoa, what did I do? But I know what the
That's because your
problem is.
neighbor sold their house for,
Yeah.
you know, 400, 500,000 more than, you know, it's crazy, it's,
Oh, I know.
Sure. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
I,
Opposed?
I'll move municipal facilities.
Second.
Discussion?
what are you gonna do with that? That's the
You're
question.
You're sitting in it.
No, I know, but.
And we never know, and the municipal facilities can be for anything, it could be for, one of our town buildings needing a roof, or a heating system, you know. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
Is
that's
it
why I
like a
was
maintenance
asking.
reserve
You
fund?
got what, you got 600,000 in there?
500,
500?
and you know.
No, no,
No,
in,
six-
in
six-
reserves.
Yeah,
in
660.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry,
It did get
yeah.
voted down last year, so we didn't
Yeah.
get the 5 that
Yeah.
we wanted this year.
You know, and that's the other problem, it got voted down last year, so now
You're behind the 8 ball again.
we're behind the 8 ball.
And everything got
again.
more expensive.
And everything's getting more expensive, you're exactly right. It just, I mean, we all know with our own homes, what it costs to keep them maintained, and now we're looking at, you know, we have this building, we have the town hall, we have fire station, we have police station hopefully, but, you know, I mean, we have all these things, we have bathrooms at the park, we have bathroom facilities at the beach, I mean, that covers
Yeah,
everything.
I
Do-
didn't
what do
know,
we
I didn't
have
know if you had a
planned?
specific project you wanted to do.
She
Not,
wants to say this building.
yeah,
Okay.
We have used the funds this year to fix a couple of issues at the fire department that needed attention to. We have used that for that. What else? The police department was having issues with their gate. We used it for that. We used it to do the roof on fire department. The intention is to, you know, use those funds to
I think at this point, Ron,
this place for
we're just all,
Hoping for the best.
hoping for the, you're right, I don't, there's things that need to be done. Obviously, we would like to get our town hall in this building,
Right.
but for us to say we're gonna do that this year, we just are a little, you know, gun shy because it didn't, we're in a default budget, so,
Well, at some point, that building's gonna,
I know,
it's gonna say, get out of here.
you're right,
Well,
it
The
just,
roof is shored up, you know, I've been through all of that,
yeah,
engineering and all of that stuff, so just a matter of time. All right,
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
I'll move bridge repair.
Second.
Discussion?
I think basically that's Churchill, correct? I mean, that's our big, it was repaired to meet the state's approval.
Well, the state does bridge inspections every year, so
Yep.
right now, that's on the top of it. I mean, it's still okay, cause we did a repair 10 or 12 years ago, but,
I was
you
gonna
know,
say,
they'll come through
that's
and
No,
but
it was,
Was it 10 or
because
12 years
I
ago?
think my oldest was just driving at 16 and he's
Yeah.
28.
So this is kind
That's
of,
by quick. That was a lot.
Yeah.
and I can remember when we did that, the state was right, oh, we'll help you.
And they didn't.
And the only thing they offered to do was provide their engineer to look at our, repair design, and that was it. So we get no help.
well,
from the state.
originally, when they redid that bridge, I'm pretty sure that's what it cost, $25,000 to put that in,
Was it?
back in the,
Well, what we're putting
70s.
away, when we get to the point where we have to do it, is it'll be just.
Well, I know.
It'll be a drop in the bucket, so.
Yeah.
But you're better off to put something in there than put nothing in there.
And there is another, was it
Where's-
listed
where's
bridges
that?
It's not
or,
listed,
um,
it's an E2, so it's.
Durgan, that's over,
Oh, on Union?
Lad Hill,
Oh, Lad Hill?
but
No, it's
over that way,
Union, right?
No,
that,
it's at, if you go down Union Road, just before Tucker Shore, it's on the,
yeah, but it comes down off from Lad Hill.
but the Durgan Bridge is
Hmm.
on, Union Road, just
Yeah.
before Tucker Shore.
Can't we just put a big culvert in there? Somebody told me that if you put a culvert in, you don't have to.
Well, you keep, yeah, there's certain criteria now.
Yeah, I
We'll look at the Holden Road project.
Well,
Yeah.
They would let us do
The
that.
problem is,
We
big
could
trucks are
bond
driving on that road now, tractor trailers and stuff, so.
It's that way on all our secondary roads.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't matter. All these trucks, whether, even if it says no through trucking, they're trucking on all of these roads that do not have bridges to sustain them.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
I'll move drainage.
Discussion?
trees on that one?
Drainage?
Same thing as the bridge type of stuff, it's, you know.
Didn't it all get resolved on Concord Street, remember years ago? There was always a problem with the drainage there. Did that-
Well, that was done a long time ago.
You know what?
Down in the gut there, that was done a long time ago, so there's new drainage that goes in where,
Goes out through Parents Field.
yeah,
Sounds good there.
where
Yeah, I don't think
the
there's-
Yale School's gonna be.
There hasn't been a problem since that was redone, I don't think.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll move election equipment. And I guess I can speak on that.
Take a second first.
Oh.
Second.
Thank you.
There's requirements. This is kind of, we have to have so many booths and so many this, and obviously our population's increasing. They're replacing the voting machine, but I believe, didn't we get grant money for that?
The state did come up with a grant, of, was it 3,000 or 3,500, towards the purchase of the,
New voting
new
machine.
voting machine. The town clerk tax collector's office did, do demos on the 2 voting machines that are out there. And I think the one they're going with is the LHS, which is the same company that I think we go through now. But I think they're still waiting for their official state approval. And then we can, put forward the grant, to get half that paid for. And the voting machines are roughly about $8,000 a piece, and we need to buy one.
And we put new booths in last year, didn't we?
Yeah, but one totally disintegrated this last election, you know, I mean, they're, you know, the little, they,
Seem to remember that we always try to place
Yeah.
1 or 2 a year or
Yeah.
something like that.
So,
Yeah.
I
but
still notice people prefer to sit at the
you,
tables.
you won't have a voter turnout like that for a while.
No, but again, that's what this is for, is just to be,
Cause I think you have to, not only do we have to replace it, we also have to have so many per 100 residents or 1,000 residents, so.
whether you go and vote or not, we gotta have
Right.
enough.
Yeah, I know.
The state will come and count and make sure you have the appropriate amount of booths for your population and ding us if we don't, and we do not want to be on the news for any of that, so.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
I'll move highway reconstruction.
Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Sir?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, we did, for the first time, I think it was 18 years that didn't pass last year. We've been putting the same amount in every year for 17 or 18 years or whatever it was. Back on the board, started doing that. Yeah, as you know, it failed last year. Yeah, I mean, you can't fix things without funding. I mean, it's, you know, I had high expectations to fix Middle Route last year. You know, we had marked the trees, we had, you know, done some, you know, we were gonna forego the engineering, and Brian and I were basically gonna work with the contractors to engineer ourselves. I mean, we kind of saved 20 or 30% doing that, but like I said, you can't move forward on things unless you have funding, so that's not gonna get done unless we get this funding, you know?
Well, I must say that your crew this year has especially with the leaves, that machine you got going around blowing them leaves up. They did quite a job.
Yeah, it works really well.
Better than sucking them
It's
all
not
up.
a fun job, but it's,
No, but I mean, before you had to have somebody suck them all up, right?
no, we never did it.
Well, years ago you did.
No, before we had that machine. So basically, we bought that machine when we started the program to start reconstructing roads and doing stone lined ditches and stuff like that. We had made the decision that if you're gonna have these stone lined riprap ditches, you need to keep them clean. So if you're not gonna keep them clean, what's the sense of having them? So we bought this, tow behind machine which sucks up the leaves with a big box in the back of the truck. So on all our hills and our bad spots, you know, we go through, we clean all the ditches as best we can. I mean, it's kind of a weather, you know, it's a weather opportunity thing, so it's, if you have the time, you know, I mean, we've had years where we're still cleaning ditches. But we've had years at the beginning of November, it's not, so, but it's a major thing when you're gonna put all this money into these roads, you keep these ditches clean, because that's when you get these, you know, torrential rains that we seem to get all the time now. And on these hills, when you have leaf dams, that's how you lose roads. So the more you can clean them, the more maintenance you can do, the better off you're gonna be, so.
I think the other issue is the highway reconstruction monies. People don't understand that if we start letting our roads go, that they're gonna spend more money on maintenance on their own vehicles, but it's gonna cost you double because we're gonna spend more money on
Well, it takes
our
everything.
police, our highway,
It's
and our
vehicles,
fire.
It's our vehicles, it's fire, it's police, it's, you know, I mean, we put salt out. So when you have a smoother road, you use less material. You know, salt's $85 a ton now. When I first started doing this job, it was $46 a ton. So, you know, the less material you have to use because you have a better road, it all adds up, you know? And I will say, you know, that $750, so that $750 isn't what it was 18 years ago. And you're not doing a fraction of what you could do way back then. And I'll be, you know, like, so at the beginning of that program, we've done Horn Road, and we've done Bean Hill, and so basically these roads, you know, they're at a certain time, 12, 13, 14 years, where they need a treatment. They've been reconstructed, but they need to shim and they need to shim and overlay for a maintenance shim. And if you don't do that, what you're gonna end up doing in 4 or 5 years is those roads are gonna have to be rebuilt again. So you've gotta take care of what you've got, you know? I wanna do Bean Hill. Bean Hill was done 13 years ago. And engineer's recommendation is that every 10 years on these roads, you put a maintenance shim, or an inch of maintenance. And if you don't do that, well, you see, you know, Bean Hill gets a lot of traffic. People going from here to Route 3, and it's, you know, but if you don't have the funding, you can't do it. So you just get behind. You know?
Yeah, we've done that road 3 times, I think.
Bean Hill? I'm not sure.
Now they did it twice.
Yep. Well, that's why you gotta keep redoing it. If you don't.
Yeah, I know.
You need to put it, you have to have this, so, and back when we first started this project, you know, this funding back years ago, the engineers used to recommend that we have 3 inches of asphalt on the roads. Now when we rebuild a road, we put 4 inches. Doesn't sound like a big difference, but, you know, 3 inches of asphalt on a road that's getting the heavy trucking that these are getting, isn't a lot of asphalt.
That and frost.
Another one of those things that comes to talking to people and making sure they understand.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, and I really didn't wanna go down this road, but you know, you've got the school, they're gonna spend $500,000 rebuilding the parking lot this year. And apparently they've got the funding for that at the high school. Yeah, it's 20 years old, but I mean, they're gonna put $500,000 in the parking lot to fix the school parking lot, and we're not putting any money in the roads. Makes absolutely no sense to me. Yeah, I can go on record with that too.
No comment.
I know, it's true.
I know.
You know, a lot of these towns, you know, like our budget, our town budget, it's, and I'm not gonna point out towns, but our town budget, the towns equal equal to our size, my department especially, is half of what most towns do. But our schools, they're all equal. Kids are equal, towns are not. Until the state finds some way to start funding these towns. And it's a problem, you know? You've got Guilford, they wanna build a $12 million highway garage. They have a department, they have 10 miles more road than Belmont does. And they've got 26 full-time employees. I have 9. We have a town hall that one person gets sick, they're on top of each other, everybody's sick. I've been sick for 2 weeks, thank you very much. You know, we go to a meeting in that town hall, you can't even move. You know, what would it take to get us into this building? And you have towns that want, it's just, you know, I know the taxes are high, and I pay them. I've lived here my whole life. You know, but, you know, something has to change.
Well, I've been doing this
And
for
I haven't
50.
slept for 2 days, so I'm a little punchy, so
Well,
I'm gonna blame it on that.
I was probably gonna go on record later on, but I have already reached out to the school board myself for some of my thoughts, and
I'm not
plan to
saying-
look more at that.
I'm not saying it doesn't need it,
It needs something,
it does need something,
yes.
but where do you draw the line? Do you not fund your roads? and
Just
not-
because you've saved 500 to do that project doesn't mean you have to spend it all on that project, though.
Well, where was all that money they were supposed to give back to us?
Well, you did CV Road a couple of years ago out front and all the way
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
I know.
We paid for CV Road.
Right.
Yeah.
And
school
so the
didn't-
buses could get
Yeah,
there.
so, yeah.
So now they gotta do the parking lot so the buses
Yeah.
can get to the front
Town-
door.
town-
Oh my God.
Town traffic didn't screw up CV Road, the buses screwed up CV Road.
Okay, we're on highway reconstruction.
Further discussion on the actual highway reconstruction? All those in favor? Opposed? Passes.
I'll move information technology.
Thank you.
Now, this is a savings account for us to be able to update information technology such as, new, systems, equipment that may not be, part of our IT contract. We do have a new IT, our contract with our current IT provider is up for renewal. We do have an RFP out for that. In the past, all of our servers and equipment have always been rolled into that monthly payment. So funding this allows us to kind of be more flexible with not having to do monthly payments and or just purchase, equipment outright.
I'm trying to find the balance on this one and I'm struggling.
It's on the first page.
It's on page 2.
Yeah, so we have 25,000 in it.
Thank you.
And oddly, that was one of them that got voted on last year for $10,000, so.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Passes.
I'll move Durham Mountain Road CR.
Can I get a second? Discussion?
You want me, this is.
Can I ask a question
yeah.
first? Because it has an asterisk next to it,
Mhm.
which means funded from unexpected fund balance, but it's not yellow. So my
So
tisms
that
are
is part
tough.
of the lawsuit, or not maybe a lawsuit,
Negotiation.
but it's
No.
a negotiation
Yeah.
with the pit owner on Durrell Mountain.
Oh,
The end of Durham Mountain Road, there is a pit located in Guilford, but they use Durham Mountain Road in Belmont to access it.
Mhm.
And so this was something that was negotiated.
Are they still hauling? out?
Negotiated for wear and tear,
Are they still hauling out of there?
Yep.
Yeah.
a couple days a week.
So why it's not highlighted is because they have to give me that check every year, so they give
Okay.
us the check, it
Thank
goes to revenue, it goes to the fund balance, and
Okay.
then it rolls over and gets put into the capital reserve at the end of the year.
so it's not raised by taxation, but it is funded by the
Right.
trucking company.
Or
Or
the-
property,
the
landowner?
Yeah.
landowner.
And
Okay.
because it goes into that capital reserve, you have to put it on the
spend it.
In order to spend it for that purpose, that has to be approved by the voters and put on the, on the ballot.
Now, was Levitt Road included in that?
No.
So they get to pound Levitt Road, they're destroying Levitt Road.
Mhm.
And Levitt Road was just done.
They pay these trucks, they pay registrations, they pay fees, they pay, you can only, I think we were lucky to get what we could get out of Durham Mountain Road. I mean, we went to court, it's not like we were letting them off scot-free, it's just,
And there's neighbors, got the other company down here, they're all out of Benedetto or whatever the name is.
yeah.
Well, down in Wilmington, Massachusetts, they're side by each down there, so I don't know if they're, in cahoots or what, but they both do the same thing. They were originally gonna start hauling by rail, but I don't know what's happening with that.
Oh, you mean the one on Waring Road? The only good thing with that was that someone redid that road. We didn't redo that road,
It was, I don't know how that was funded.
yeah.
What's that?
Years ago, the landowner redid Waring Road, where the pavement, took the pavement part of it.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Dora Mountain.
No.
I think we did that.
Dora Mountain Road, we got some of that recycled material to put down for a base,
Oh.
and we did that road from where they, take the oil, soil, dirt, and they, that's what we use.
That's half the problem with the road.
And that's what's underneath that.
Free is not necessarily free sometimes.
Well, at the time,
It costs them a
we're
lot.
pretty concerned.
Poor.
It never stabilizes underneath the roads.
No. Well, it had shoes in it and everything else, so. Yeah. All right, moving on.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next.
I'll move the water system repair and maintenance. And obviously, that's paid through user fees.
You gonna clean the tank, or?
Can I have a second?
Well, we're trying to build up a little bit of a reserve for that, because at some point in time, we're gonna have
I'll
to,
second.
paint the tank. That's gonna be, another 2-3 years, so, there's any infrastructure improvements that we wanna do, we're gonna have to start saving for. I mean, it seems like $100,000 is a lot when you start. I've got quotes a couple years ago to redo that tank, it was almost $250,000 to paint that tank inside now. You have to, temporary water source flat, you have to put in a bladder up the hill, and it's quite a process. The tank has lasted very well,
I was gonna ask, has anyone looked at the structural?
every 3
integrity?
years, we have the tank inspected, we have divers go in, we have it cleaned. We do an internal, external inspection. Every other year I have it pressure washed. It's due this year. So I have a company come in, and it's fairly reasonable. They come in and they put a cleaner on it and they pressure wash it. So I think next year it's due to be, we had it inspected last year and it's due next year.
75 that was built?
I believe so.
Did you need a second on that?
No, I got it.
Yeah, I have to do this first.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll move the sewer system repair and maintenance.
Thank you. Discussion? Same thing.
Unexpected repairs, sewer breaks, and that's the thing like with water too. You have a water break, you can knock on wood. We've been very fortunate.
That place where it keeps breaking there, Ken sold that property, so I don't know what's gonna go in there.
Oh, yeah.
That
Oh, I'm on
six-
40?
16 acres, I think he had in there or something. He sold that, so I don't know what they're gonna do
Well,
there.
we're in a fight with them right now.
Yeah.
Alicia's in a fight with them,
We're not giving in.
No.
So when you go down, you'll see the
like
ribbons
that.
on those trees, that's the piece that he sold, so. It looks like they're gonna have to drive over
Yeah,
that.
they wanna put a driveway in there.
Yeah.
Right where they're broke.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously?
And the state will make them pave it, then they'll end up digging
Can't
it
remember
up.
the guy's name. You wanted to hook into the sewer there, and it's forced me, you can't hook into
No.
the sewer.
You can go up the road.
No, not really.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next.
I'll move the Heritage Commission.
Second it. They're, doing some banners and stuff.
Was that what it was for?
Well, I forget what the other thing they were gonna do, but,
Plaque.
they put
Yeah, there
something
was a
for.
plaque for
Linda
somewhere.
Linda?
Farley.
They wanted to buy a lot of,
And then they were gonna,
Ornament posts for the mill and the bandstand.
That's right, they're gonna replace a couple posts, that's correct.
but I know they were working on banners, so.
Banners, a couple of the granite posts, and a plaque.
Yeah. They did a nice one down here on the trail, that really come out nice. If you haven't seen it, stop down and look at it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, contingency fund, I'll move the contingency fund, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Don't move the amount though, cause you
No.
guys haven't voted, that's why I had this question, well, mine.
So should we even move it?
Well, Alicia.
You can bring it up for discussion, but they haven't decided what if any, they're going to
Okay.
fund it yet, so it's
Okay.
kind of up in the air.
Yeah,
But-
maybe they can help us.
Okay.
Pretty much, we looked into a capital reserve for something that, you know, I don't know. Contingency, if something blows up, I don't know, whatever isn't covered by insurance. We have nothing that we can draw money from. Let's say Craig has a, I don't know, an engine blow up or something that wouldn't be totally covered by insurance, something, all right, just because I'm trying to think of it. But the difference is with a capital fund, it rolls over. A contingency fund does not. It's year to year.
Oh,
So whatever funds we put in is there for that year, would be 2025, just in case.
and then goes back, if it's
Then it
not
goes
expended,
back
go back to
in.
the
That's right.
And you
That's
can
right.
either fund it through unexpended fund balance, or you can fund it through taxation, however you wish. Most that I've seen other towns do is fund it through fund balance, and then it goes back to the fund at the end of the year if you don't spend it. You know, it can be, the way the RSA is, it's for unexpected or unplanned expenses.
We've had a couple expensive equipment repair that we had to find monies for this past year. So that would be what this fund might end up being used for, instead of a particular department taking it out of their repair line because it's kind of above and beyond oil changes, tires,
Yep.
you know, that type of thing. We would have those funds would be something that the selectmen could choose to use those funds for. Does that make better sense?
The reason why I was laughing,
Why
you
you
remember Julia Perkins?
Yeah?
Well, she was one, when she was a selectman, there was no such thing as miscellaneous.
Oh.
That was her big thing.
I,
You know,
I agree with
everything's gotta have, you know, when we're doing the budget, everything's gotta go someplace, no miscellaneous. And that's what this sounds like.
Okay, it's just a new word, contingency, instead of miscellaneous.
Yeah.
Well-
Miscellaneous, the guy at town meeting says, I don't know who this miscellaneous is, but we need to pay her off and get rid of it.
Yeah, that was Julia Perkins, she was funny.
would something like unexpected maintenance and repairs or something like that, can you?
Well, a contingency fund, if I understand it correctly, is something would be monies that the selectmen, we wouldn't have to vote on it, it would be.
A
it would be
discretionary.
something-
Miscellaneous.
Discretionary fund.
Discretionary.
It would be a
whereas you-
discretionary
yeah.
fund.
You could even use it for wages, if for some reason, you know, the PD gets voted down again, they could use those funds. Or if non-union student, you know, wages didn't pass, it's up to their discretion, it's just something that wasn't planned.
That's what the state's using to give their drivers bonuses.
Oh, is it really? Oh, really?
They're-
The truck drivers in
They're
the
giving
town?
they're giving their state truck drivers, because they can't find anybody with CDLs to drive in the winter. That's what I believe, don't quote me, I've heard that they're using a contingency fund to fund bonuses.
Well, that's not.
Next year you're gonna be asking for that money, but
So the question mark is how much you want?
Right, and I guess, did we discuss 20, is that why you had put the 20 with question mark? I don't
So the
remember.
20 works out with my amount with the 400, even if divvying up extra into all those other funds, so that's why I have 20.
Okay, then it falls into the realm of what we have for,
So this is gonna be the.
Yep.
So should we take
The
a,
selectmen's slush fund?
there you go.
gosh, I
Petty
really wish you
cash.
hadn't said that.
You can't
I
win.
really wish you hadn't said that.
No, yeah, really, it's getting late, right, really.
Oh, you gotta have some fun once in a while.
That's exactly right, I'm
Just a
all for
discussion
it.
now because the board hasn't officially voted.
So,
what it wants to fund that for.
all we did was move it to discuss, we discussed it, we can move on.
Yep.
Okay.
May I ask that we allow Sharon to present for the cemetery trustees, as you can hear her son coughing and dying in the background there,
Oh,
so
no.
I think she would like to try to get him
That's what it
out
is?
and take him
Yeah,
home.
I had no idea who that was.
So I think if you don't mind,
No.
sorry.
Yeah,
So, so I had not a clue, sorry.
Well, my husband works for the state of New Hampshire, so he got called as I was leaving to come here, and so,
Not a problem. I
He's-
apologize for not knowing that earlier.
so, I don't know if you all have the packet with the pictures that.
Yeah, we had that in,
Put together for you.
They were in your,
yeah, they were.
that was the one for the Weymouth Cemetery?
Yeah, most of these are photos from the Weymouth
tab
Cemetery.
18.
Tab 18 might have that backup for you folks.
Yeah, we did it last week.
So we still have, we have our capital reserve account, we've been saving money for some of the big projects we have. We need to take down and replace the fence at Church Hill. Last estimate, that project was $50,000. We need to replace our signs, about 85% of them are not readable. They were done about 20 years ago, and they're made of wood. We paid someone a couple of years ago to repaint some of them, but, you know, sunlight and stuff like that. They're not holding. Traditionally, we ask for around 10, we usually get 5. It goes on the ballot and the voters vote on that, and, since I've been on board, it's never not passed. That being said, earlier in the spring, we had what we considered abandoned cemeteries, and we posted notice for descendants to come forward. And we went through that process, which is lined out, under the RSA 289 statutes. And, we got 7 of the cemeteries, that were not owned by the town of Belmont. They now have become property of the town of Belmont. One of these cemeteries is called Weymouth Cemetery. It's across the street from Countryside Circle, and if you know the neighborhood, it's out in the woods past that brand new blue house that they built. So we went out there and we took pictures, and most of these photos are what you see that's out there. The well's still intact, there's some field stones. There's believed to be about 25 people buried there, but we don't have any record of who. Somebody probably in the 1920s and 1930s had stolen the headstone. The rumor was that the little boy told the caretaker that his dad took them, put them in the foundation of the house. We have actively, we're trying to find those, but the last fire tore the house down and threw everything in the dumpster, even though we tried to see if we could, you know, look for the stone. They threw everything in the dumpster and threw it all away, so if there was any information in there, that information is gone. We're trying to use an ancestry database to go back and forth to see if we could find anyone that they say is buried there. So we need to get an access to this. There's trees down, 50, 60 years worth of debris and branches and all this other stuff. The state law requires that we restore and maintain as to the best of our ability. So what we did was, we requested $25,000 for our capital reserve. And we thought that we would just have to put that number on the ballot, and if the voters say no, then we don't get anything.
Well, I did mention to you the last time you were here that there are a couple of organizations that could probably help you with that.
Right, yeah, we're gonna reach out to them too, but, one of the things is, you know, we've been saving $5,000 a year to try to replace a $50,000 fence. And like the library, you know, this isn't gonna get us anywhere, and we have to do this. And the people that are talking just the basic might come in at around $8,000 to $10,000. So we're gonna try to space it out. But one of the things that we did do when, the budget defaulted, we had found a way to pay half of our maintenance out of what we were given as our default budget, and then we paid the other half of the contract out of our capital reserve fund. So of the money that you see on your capital, accounts with our balance, we spent the 8,000, I think it's 8,600, I believe.
So you got 28,000 in there?
Yes, because the 5,000 is still sitting there, and then we had a storm, the Christmas Eve storm a couple of years ago. It took us 2 or 3 years of doing the paperwork and stuff, but we got money back from FEMA. So that was also sitting as a capital reserve deposit that would go in December, but we spent it.
Also note too, the amounts that you have in the capital reserves, what was voted and approved on at town meeting is not in those capital reserves yet, those get transferred in December.
So there'll be another 5,000 into that.
Yes.
Okay. Can I
Only
take a
tiny
motion for
because we
discussion?
spent it.
Can I take a motion for discussion?
I move for discussion cemetery, requested amount $25,000.
Second.
Thank you. And I apologize, you may have already, you guys probably already discussed this last week, but on the Weymouth, how?
No, we didn't do capital.
Okay, I didn't know because
Right,
you
I
talked
came
about
back.
this. Drive, walkway, access. Are you saying you're gonna put in a driveway for that?
No,
No.
there's a path.
Yeah, just a path.
Through people's property?
We have an easement,
The main-
and we already talked to the property owner, and he was all about that as long as we, got in there. Cause they built the house, and the house is actually built in front of the cemetery. But, so when his driveway comes around,
Yep.
for a while, we can use his driveway and create a path out to it. That's like the closest point. But it would be like only about 2 years because they do intend to build a garage there. So then after that point, it should just be someone walking out there, you know, once a month or whatever.
I guess the main thing would be, dude, is to get it cleaned up and find out what you got there before we spend a whole lot of money just
Yeah,
to, if you find out that the stones are mostly missing and stuff, just to, put a perimeter around it and go from there, because with all the other cemeteries you have to do, if a storm comes through and stuff, you're gonna need a lot of this money to maintain what you got, I think. That's my feeling. And if you can get, like I said, I have access to get, some inmates to come up and work a couple of times to get most of it cleaned up, if that's what you wanna do, but, I think you gotta be pretty frugal with the cost of everything. If it's gonna cost $50,000 to cut down one tree, it's,
Did I hear you mention that you had to, there was an RSA on it though, that you had to upkeep and maintain?
Yeah, they're not very long. The RSA is the one that governs what the cemetery trustees has to do, what their job is 289. And I think there's like, it goes to number 30, I think. It's not intensive, but it is our job to protect the historical plot, for lack of a better term. And try to, you know, upkeep them to the best of our ability. This literally though hasn't been touched
No.
in 50 years.
I live off of this road that has not been touched, and that house was one of those modulars that came in 2 pieces, cause the lady that lived there for close to 100 years
Yeah.
had passed away. And so the access is why I was questioning, cause sooner or later, we're not gonna have access to that.
Right, they're gonna give us, you know, the use of the driveway and to make our way out there, and that's the plan to do that in the spring. And then eventually it'll be, we can park in the yard and they would just take out a mower or weed whackers as needed. Because it is a very heavily wooded area, and we're not going to take out any of those living trees. So it's probably most of the soil, once we get all the debris off it, will probably just end up being moss.
No, I don't mind giving you the 25,000, cause it's probably gonna take that to maintain all the cemeteries.
Well, it's that.
I just didn't want you to spend it all on Weymouth Cemetery
No, I
or
know.
Runway Cemetery.
We wanna get the signs done too, but right now I'm trying to see if I can get the metal signs like they made in Gilmington and have them done at the prison.
That makes
That
sense.
might be a huge savings.
Well, that makes
So
sense to go down there.
it's something that we're researching while we're doing other things.
Okay,
One final question from me, I think, is where's the Ranlet Cemetery that needs the access stairs?
The Ranlet Cemetery is off, yeah.
Plummer Hill?
You go up Plummer Hill and turn left onto Orchard Hill, turn left onto Randlet.
Oh,
It goes down over the hill. Laconia Housing Authority is a butter. The main problem with that one is it's very, very difficult to get down because the Laconia Housing Authority uses it as a dumping ground for their debris
It goes down.
for police, and it goes down. So what we were trying to do is to go to the other side, and there's a bunch of dead trees there that need to come down and put in the staircase going down. So someone doesn't get hurt.
Mr. Eckberg, when he used to, manage that, because we built that project up there, came into our office one day and proceeded to tell us we needed to take all those trees down. They're big, there's some big trees.
Yeah,
down there. It's down.
That
a
one,
hill.
there isn't any reason to. I mean, there's a ton of trees in there that need to come down and be moved. And there was one that actually fell last winter and broke a stone. You know, but luckily with our partnership with the, New Hampshire Old Graveyard Association, we've gotten a lot of those repairs done for free by hosting seminars. And we have like 10, 15 people come out and they repair the broken stones, and we have a cleaning project that I have been doing, and I got a couple other people that just moved to town that are, doing this with me in their spare time.
anyone else have questions? All those in favor? Opposed? So passes, and again, my apologies, there's always people mulling around in the building, I didn't know it was a sick kiddo.
Yeah, he comes with me and he hides in the dark in the other room. He's just sitting there on my phone. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
So we move back up to the debt
Debt
service.
service, yep.
I don't know, is that, well, the cops are.
So do we just move
Move
the
up to the-
ambulance,
so-
ambulance,
Do we just move the?
ambulance
Yeah.
revenue fees, no funds raised through taxation?
Okay. Can I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
So the first one that you have there is for the pumper. We are, approaching our final payments, in 2026. That lease payment is $60,776. And then the second one you see there, the ambulance lease payment for 105, that is the ambulance that we ordered in 23. We made our first payment in 24, and then the final payment will be 2028.
Is that the one that hasn't come in yet?
Correct.
Okay.
We believe in prepaying.
Slated for March.
Yeah, that's gonna be March.
Okay.
And then the, 149.5, that is we restrict the first X amount of dollars, whatever whatever is voted on and approved. This year was the 149.5. So the first 149.5 that comes in from the ambulance billing is restricted and goes to the general fund to offset costs associated in the family. The
replace what needed to be fixed, to really give us no warranty or anything else, because it's really it's come to its age anyways. We've started looking at another tanker. This company makes spec tankers, Spout Brothers. They've got 3 already built right now. We're hoping that if everything goes accordingly, that in March, when the vote comes in, if this was to pass, we would have this tanker by April. I do have, this is some stuff that I had sent to the Board of Selectmen when I initially had done safety hazard. You've already gotten it. So, oops, sorry. This is also what the fire truck will look like, the tanker. So, and then I do, for anybody who really wants to read the specs of this fire truck, gallons and all that other stuff, I can give real quickly. It's gonna be a 3,000 gallon tanker. It has, it can be set up, it will be set up as a fire engine and attack piece if need be, so that we will never not have an attack piece if we need it. However, with having 3,000 gallons in it, it just makes it a little more difficult to be an attack piece all the time. So it won't necessarily, it'll be the last option if need be. We do have a lot of areas that are in the outskirts of town. Remember, fire trucks and the amount of water that we have in the town also affects your ISO ratings, which is your insurance ratings that you guys pay for your house. Our ISO ratings actually changed this year because it was, or the past 2 years. I don't know if anybody really wants the specs to this, but I just printed this all up earlier for the selectmen. Anyways, ISO ratings changed a couple years ago because we lost the tower, the ladder truck. So that increased our ISO ratings, which then increases your insurance rates. Hopefully we'll get this, if this tanker's to go through, we'll get this tanker, and our ISO rating won't change anymore. Because we'll still then have, because it's every 5 years they update this ISO rating. What I'm proposing is basically $550,000 will, out of our account, it'll be a lease purchase, which we've done in the past. It'll be a 5-year lease. I know that Steve would work through some numbers on this, and doing the 5-year lease, it basically, we'll call it $70,000, just use round numbers, it's like $69,000 and change. That will allow us to maintain a steady balance in that account for 5 years.
Part of the concern we had, or I had, was seeing what was currently in the account, because there's already money that's constantly leaving. We had to kind of do a cash flow analysis. I mean, we always have revenue coming in. I based it off of $25,000 coming in a month. It's kind of where we're at. It's slightly, they bring it slightly above. I kind of was a little more conservative. As Alicia mentioned, the first, in 2024 in the past, the first $124,500 in revenue from the ambulance account goes into the general. As she pointed out, this year it's the first $149,500. So if you think about it, essentially it's the first 5 or 6 months of revenue comes right out of their bank account. So I had to really pay attention to money in and money out. And when we ran an analysis, you know, we had some options, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Essentially what's currently in the account, or I took in what would be in the account starting in January 1st of '25, and then did all the deductions and the revenue in. We really couldn't do a 3-year lease. Even if the rate's lower, it wouldn't matter, the account would be bankrupt at that point, because we have other payments to make. As you see, the current payments are the $60,000 that will go away in '26, and then the $105,000 that will go away in '28. So we had to take that into account as well. So, I mean, I kind of determined that a 5-year term with a lower payment would keep money in the account, and also, if something ever had to be purchased, maybe a smaller purchase, the account could handle that. And so we're working with a few banks right now just to see what the best interest rates are, but,
I'm trying to find the balance in that account right now.
the balance as of today,
Yeah, I'm sure it was on this sheet somewhere.
probably, no, it's a bank account,
Oh,
actually.
so,
I
okay.
should understand what his balance in on
In the
that
ambulance
or what?
fund?
Yeah, and so it's a bank account at Northway.
Okay,
So
so
right
it's
now it's
not on
about
here.
450. I estimated, on January 1st, I based my analysis off of $480,000 starting in that account
Okay,
in January. But right now it's about 450,000.
No, you just got a new ambulance, what, this past year?
Back in, God, it's been 4 years now, it's coming on 5 years, it was the first year I started.
That new ambulance is 5 years old already?
we approved one a couple years ago, it hasn't come in yet.
So we
Oh,
approved
that
one
one.
Hasn't even come in yet.
not that long ago, because that's the problem, is
Okay,
it's
I knew he bought one.
Yeah, we just haven't seen it yet.
That's what I said.
Apparatus,
We're gonna own it before it shows up.
unfortunately, it's taking the same thing, and this is where we came across this tanker, that they're mass producing them basically because they're just stock models. And a tanker really only needs to be a stock model. The most important thing it's doing is carrying water from point A to point B. It's usually just gonna have one person in it. So that's why that was beneficial. Other than that, this tanker in theory would take about 3 years to come in. If we
Okay.
start to look to purchasing fire trucks, which we'll have to do in the near future, those are gonna take 3 to 5 years to come in. The ambulance is taking 2 years to come in. So basically, next year, I've gotta start speccing another ambulance to then work into our backup ambulance, which that backup ambulance, by the way, runs pretty steadily every day.
What's the life expectancy? It is getting late. What is the life expectancy of this tanker typically?
So fire trucks' life expectancies are about 10 years on with a tanker it's a little different. With a fire truck, it's about 10 years on the front line, and then another 10 years on the back line, meaning it goes out primary
Yep.
first and second. With a tanker, they don't run as much.
Right.
They only come out when they're fires, so this tanker should run like this last one lasted us 23 years.
And we're talking a 5-year lease.
5-year lease, yeah.
All right. I just,
So 250,000 down,
yeah,
Mhm.
and then a smaller payment over
5.
5 years.
5 years.
By the time it's paid off, it'll be worth $1 million,
Probably.
where the prices are going.
And really, a fire truck right now is $1 million. A tanker,
I know.
this tanker's gonna hold 3,000 gallons of water. Engines are only 1,000, but still engines are upward $1 million, and a tower or a ladder truck is almost 2.
So you,
And ambulances are going up every
And
day.
my ambulance cost just shy of $500,000.
so you just mentioned that in the not too distant future, you would need a new fire truck. Are those gonna overlap and be a
Oh,
problem?
yeah, you'll have to get a
Well,
bond.
That'll be a
Yeah.
problem.
Right, and
Yeah.
I was just like,
Well, the way
yeah,
I did it,
480 is,
if there was a smaller purchase than this, maybe you could
Okay.
fit it in, and that's why I
Okay.
kinda
I
thought
was
we
like,
could
that
stretch
didn't
it
which
out.
may end up being an
Anything
ambulance
larger,
purchase
the
or
account would
something.
handle.
But yes, a fire truck needs to be, I did not wanna do a tanker purchase this year, I really would've rather done a fire truck purchase. Or actually, my goal would've been to work on getting the ISO ratings back up, and I would've done a combination fire truck ladder,
That was a quick.
which is a quint, which we finally learned the wording for it. However, it's a fire truck, it's an engine that has a ladder on the top of it,
Yeah.
which is very versatile. With the size of our department and the buildings that are in this town, we have many 2-story residential buildings with a chimney fire, house fire, whatever, that it's safer to get up on the roof, and it's more effective because you already have the ladder coming with water at the same time.
And it's probably, I'm thinking, more maneuverable.
It's more maneuverable than a full tower, like what you guys had in the past. But it's, for our department, what my goal was to get rid of the rescue and to get rid of one fire truck. So the overhead of the department would be a little bit less.
Mhm.
However, I could bring in a more versatile piece of equipment, which would then take care of rescues and fires, you go out on motor vehicle accidents, and any specialty rescues, would all that equipment would be on that truck, getting rid of the rescue we have now, which does nothing with water.
So if you're gonna put that tanker out on the, say, ambulance calls, accidents, it's gonna be running more than,
Which
A
one,
reg-
the tanker?
yeah,
The tanker won't go on medical calls, no.
no, the Quint.
The quint, in theory, it would go out, it could be set up to go out. Right now, any one of our trucks has all the equipment. Two of our engines, engine 3 does not, 2 of our engines, plus both of our ambulances have tools in them for cutting. The ambulances have combi tools, combi tool, the engines both have cutters, spreaders, and all that stuff on them. So, however, I can combine it down. This truck would probably be about the size of engine 2 with a ladder on it. So, it would probably go out a little bit more. You know, right now, engine 1 goes out on motor vehicle accidents, because that's really our, in theory, truck for motor vehicle accidents. It doesn't necessarily go out, engine 2 can, but we kind of go back and forth with those. But it would be utilized better for rescues. And usually a tower or a ladder truck is a rescue truck, because it carries everything you need, all the ropes, anything you need to stabilize vehicles, anything you need for cutting, it's all kind of isolated on one vehicle.
So on the back page of the handout you gave us, is the $69,571 the anticipated payment after the down
Yes.
payment of $250 now?
Correct. And I just today, just kind of, this was the one we had initially worked on with the 3-year. And then today, just to quickly print this up for you guys, I just kind of hand wrote the 69 in there.
And that's what you meant by taking the smaller payment, because it wasn't saving, it was
Correct.
better off.
Well, correct, the 3 years of actually like a $40,000 or $50,000
Yeah.
more payment. In year 3, the account literally
Yeah,
went to zero.
we need the money.
And so right now, by using a 5-year, at the very worst part of the cash flow analysis, we're still kind of maintaining, which would be year 28.
That's why I asked what the longevity
Yeah.
is. You're looking at a 5-year lease on a truck that hopefully will
6
go,
years.
or 5, 6, will
Yeah.
go 20 years, or whatever the case may be, you know.
And the average lifespan with maintenance and everything, obviously, is about 20 years,
Yeah.
which that tanker did.
Yeah.
And at the time, they paid $75,000 for it.
Who
So that
brings a
tanker-
tanker right now if we need one?
I call mutual aid from another truck out of town. I do have it all set up so that if, we have a building fire, I already have it prearranged that certain trucks will come in.
That's what mutual aid is for. And we pay monies.
Well, we pay money, that $85,000 goes towards dispatching part
Yeah.
and on all that. But we also give mutual aid to other towns. We were at a fire in Franklin the other day, we were at a fire in Laconia the other day for the gym that caught on fire. So just as much as they help us, we're helping them. And so, and then with ambulance revenue, with running 2 ambulances, as long as we can get that second ambulance staff, we're also bringing in more revenue. So, last night during the storm, we had 3 calls going at once. 2 of the calls, one of the calls we weren't able to handle with our ambulance, but the other 2, we were with people coming in. And then we had extra people on yesterday, so, because it was our 4-shift crew.
So would this, be a warrant article?
Yes.
Yes.
And it would be now taxation for the town.
I understand that, but
No, I'm just,
they don't.
no, they don't, and that's why being on TV,
That's why I was wondering if
we'll
it's
let them know.
gonna be a warrant article, and then every year it's gotta be voted on again?
It does.
Same as the
Same as the
original.
ambulance and the other
Same
things
as
on
the,
there.
yeah.
Can't bind one town meeting to another, so one town can say, nope, can't have it, you're gonna give it back, or the town has to
And
find
what do we
it.
still, what happened last year when we defaulted the budget? We had equipment we had to buy, right? Still pay for?
This didn't go,
Those passed.
that didn't
That's
pass.
passed.
There's the separate
It
warrant
passed,
articles for that
because it still
passed.
comes out of that ambulance fund,
Okay.
so it's non-taxation.
Non-taxation. All pass.
Or zero taxation, or
Zero,
whatever,
however you wanna,
however we
yeah.
wanna phrase it, and I would imagine.
Not at my
budget
house.
committee And selectmen approval, or,
Yeah, they could.
so,
Remember that thing we were talking about, that little contingency fund we were talking about earlier?
any other questions?
Miscellaneous? Yeah.
Any other questions?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll move the library building.
Can I have a second?
Second?
Second.
They're not here to discuss it, but that is just them tucking away 25,000 each year for the expansion of the library.
That'll happen in my grandchildren's life.
So they want PR and a lot of work to get that out there.
Well, you know my feeling on it, so.
Yep. I do.
I don't,
So they currently have $400,000 in there.
That 25,000 is,
but have they figured out how to spend it yet? Or what they can spend it on?
well, this they can spend on whatever, you're thinking about the Duffy Fund.
Right.
The Duffy Fund, from what we've been told, is just for that building, not
Oh.
any new building.
So,
Ooh.
I had suggested that they petition the court so they could have better use of that fund, instead of just always on that building. Because there's a lot of money in there. More money than what they'll spend on that building. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, just to repair what they got, not put an addition on it.
In other words, what you're saying is if they chose to build a library someplace else, whoever takes over that building retains the Duffy Fund.
Ooh.
Well, that was my feeling, that they need better control over that Duffy, but, because nobody seems to know where that information ever went to. I talked to Dave Karen about it, and it's, nobody seems to know. I mean, this was built back in the, 100 years ago, so, but they need to get that resolved. Being trustees of the library, you'd think that they would have better handle on where that money, and where they can spend it.
But it is up to the trustees as to how they handle it.
Mhm.
Exactly. That's why it was set up that way.
So what does this $25,000 go towards?
It goes into a capital reserve
Yeah.
for
Future improvements.
future improvements.
And over the years, what they've done to the library is they've repointed the outside of the building, and we've shored up the middle of the building because the weight of the books was making the floor sag. Because the building's not that big, it only spans like 20-some odd feet wide. And the beams went all the way across, and they started to sag from the weight of the books. So, we went in and jacked the building up to stabilize it. But that's the whole problem with the building, so. So anyway, they've spent money over the years on it, so.
Any further discussion on the $25,000 motion? All those in favor? Opposed? Do we need to do a grand total on these things? Cause we don't really have one because of the miscellaneous fund?
That's not fair, it's
No,
contingency.
you voted on, you don't need to vote on the total, you voted
Okay.
on each individual
Alright,
one. It's
so
not really
estimated revenues is
necessary.
next on our agenda.
Oh, yeah, I forgot we still have that. In your packet is what I submitted to the Department of Revenue on our 24, revenues. So revenues are an estimation, truly it changes, a couple times throughout the year. When I'm setting the tax rate is when I sit down with the DRA and, tell them what I anticipate my revenues are gonna be for the year. So I know we're talking about 25, so we'll use this number as our guide moving into 25. It will change halfway through the year. So basically I go through all of these accounts, I look at what my snapshot in time is today for what I've collected already. I'll speak to the different departments and say, are you anticipating any more, like for the building permits, are you anticipating any large, permits to be, expended or coming in? I meet with the town clerk tax collector about the motor vehicle permits to see where we're at. She gives me her projection, based off the monthly numbers of where she thinks we're gonna be at. And then we project out what our estimated revenues. So the revenues are important because that's what offsets your taxation. So yes, our, operating and warrant articles are gonna be X, but the revenues is what offsets that to make that, less. And so the 24 revenues that we used to, set the tax rate was, 4.9 million. So we do have a good steady amount of revenue that comes in through the town. I mean, I can explain any of these that you want more
Do we still get revenue from the dam in Lockmere?
We talked about that last year, I don't,
Yeah,
it was in a weird spot.
It is in a weird spot, and I think it's either in the waters, I think it's in the water, it's in the water
Income
somewhere.
from department or what?
Yeah,
Mm,
no, it's,
it was a small,
I'm gonna ask him.
And the other complaint I had over the years is only getting 10 cents for gravel at a time. It doesn't seem like a whole lot of
But
money.
is that, do we set that or
Was
does the
it-
state?
No, the state sets it.
Well,
Well, you gotta petition,
right, but it's no different than John always complaining about the boat, the boat, registration. You know, somebody can buy a $500,000 boat and pay the same, amount of money that somebody's got a canoe that they're registering. You know, I mean, that's.
or that we don't collect those as the town, because you can go over, well, if you can you can register them at other facilities, like Winnisquam Marine will register them, and then the town
yeah,
gets nothing.
but the gravel, I mean, that's what we sell in this town is gravel. And we don't, to me, we don't get enough revenue.
Was it under other licenses, permits and fees?
No, I think it's in the water, it's mingled in with the water.
Other services, income from
I think it's
departments.
that water pollution grant, that 6,202.
Well, I just wanted people to know that we still get revenue from that dam that, we helped.
That amount sounded about right, it wasn't
It
a
was
huge amount.
probably not a whole lot of money, but, you know, it's,
And then the Lockmere Village District, they have pilots, so we, under the payment in lieu of taxes, that's a pilot, so we do the, in lieu of taxation, we have those agreements set, and it's with the, Belmont Elderly Housing, and then the Lockmere Village.
water.
No.
Because the water supplies on this side of town, it's on Belmont side, but supplies water for Lockmere. That building, when you go down, the end of Union Road, straight across, there's a building there. And what happened was, where Gus's store used to be out on Route 3, there was a filling station there, and the tanks leaked and contaminated all the soil. So the oil company had to put in that water system to supply water for Lockmere. So that's how they get all their water. And the well is on the Belmont side.
Do we need motions on this stuff, Colleen?
You could, I mean, granted, this is not for 25, this is for 24, so it's just really for discussion.
Okay, perfect.
That's part of the equation when I tell you that this, the operating budget as proposed here in a second. So if you guys want to know that now, the 25 operating budget as proposed without a super fine tooth comb amount, barring no more changes moving forward, we are looking at 11,381,655. I wanna point out that had our budget passed last year, our budget last year would have been 11,191,826, and we would have only had a $335,000 increase to the budget, had the budget passed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
With that said, the difference between the default and the 25 budget is 1,052,044. That's not all, that number also is not including the warrant articles. The separate warrant articles for like the capital reserves,
Can you repeat the difference?
which difference?
1,052,44.
And the warrant articles, the separate warrant articles that were approved last year, the ones that were funded through taxation was 107,000. Now the ones that we're proposing to be funded through taxation is 1.305. So that's a huge difference.
Ron, your water, the dam is probably on page 2 at the very bottom, 30 3509, revenue from miscellaneous.
We're back to
At
that
least
again.
miscellaneous brings something to the party.
And do we know what the school budget is yet?
No,
Yeah,
they are meeting tonight.
I'll do that.
Julia would be proud of that one. Rest her soul.
So we do not need to meet next week. According to our schedule, our next meeting is Tuesday, January 7th. Do we keep that at 6:30 and have our meeting before the hearing and start the hearing at the conclusion, or do we have a meeting at 6?
So that's up to you. I haven't posted the notice for the public hearing yet, so if you want to do your meeting at 6, and then you can do the public hearing at 6:30, or you can keep your meeting at 6:30 and I can do the public hearing at, say, 7 or thereafter. I would just hate to have you sit here for a whole half hour as well.
Can't we just, we didn't wait in between, we did one of these in the last 12 years since I've been here, so that we had to have and we went right into it, we didn't, can we just say it starts at 6:30 and do our business first, before I open it?
Yes, but you wouldn't really be able to open the public hearing until 6:30, so you could be done the other business in 2 minutes and then sit around for a half an hour.
No, I'm saying, can we just say the public hearing starts at 6:30, but actually do a quick meeting at 6:30, and at 6:35 open the public hearing, they're 5 minutes late?
I think that is fine, as long as you jump to your public hearing before you.
Right,
No,
okay.
I think that's.
I don't wanna give 2 different times and then have us sit around, so let's leave it at 6:30 then.
Okay, that works for me.
I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Colleen, the ayes have it, and you're in charge of the recording.
Everybody have a
Oh, wait. We do have people up for reelection. It would be Ron and I,
I think it was in your
Tyke-
TA report.
Tyke.
Beginning.
And,
No, I don't think Tyke is.
He's up for reelection. I'm with the 2 of you, trust me, I remember.
Yeah.
Hmm.
and I'll remind you guys again in our.
And then anyone who joined us this year has to run.
It is in
Okay.
the TA PowerPoint if anyone
Oh,
wants
is
to
that
see
where it is? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Helps if you go
Right
to
there
it.
in that color.
In this one.
Yep.
If you joined this year, then you need to,
So that would be Fred, Tracy, Aki, Ron.
and then those that took those vacant spots.
It's because
No,
the
no.
selection position is yearly.
Oh, okay.
John's up for reelection.
John's up. I thought I had another year or so to go.
All right, so we already motioned to adjourn, so Colleen, you may shut off the recording.
Recording stops.
But it hasn't really stopped for those of you that have been being good for a little while, like me. It has not really stopped yet,
No.
until Colleen says it's stopped.